We spend a lifetime building our character, brick by brick, laying a foundation of honesty and hard work. Yet, it is terrifying how fragile that structure can be. A single moment of weakness, a solitary whisper of greed, has the power to shatter years of integrity. Have you ever considered that the distance between poverty and a throne might just be one right decision away? Listen closely to this story, for it holds a mirror to the human soul, revealing how easily even the noblest heart can be led astray by an unguarded thought. In a dusty, forgotten corner of the world, there lived a young man named Jake. His existence was a cycle of relentless grind and quiet desperation. He was a man acquainted with hunger, waking up every morning to chase odd jobs that barely paid enough to keep the fire in his stove burning. Despite the cruelty of his circumstances, Jake carried himself with a quiet dignity, returning home each evening to a meager meal and an empty house, yet sleeping with the peace of a clear conscience. One evening, the sun was dipping below the horizon, painting the sky in bruised shades of purple and orange. As Jake trudged home, defeated by another day of fruitless searching, suddenly a frail voice pierced the silence behind him. "Is there a kind soul who might lend an old man a hand?" Jake turned to see a weathered elder standing beside three massive, battered sacks. The stranger looked exhausted. Jake, despite his own fatigue, stepped forward. The old man explained that he needed to reach the neighboring village, a journey that would be impossible for him alone. He pointed to the sacks, offering 3 gold coins if Jake would shoulder the burden of the heaviest one. Desperate for the money, Jake agreed. But as he hoisted the first sack onto his shoulder, his knees nearly buckled. The weight was immense. The old man noticed his struggle and spoke softly, claiming the bag was filled with heavy bronze coins. Gritting his teeth against the strain, Jake nodded and began the march, the heavy strap digging into his flesh. As they walked, a strange tension filled the air. The old man's eyes seemed to drill into Jake's back, watching his every move. Jake felt the scrutiny and thought to himself that the elder must be afraid of theft. He silently reassured himself of his own nature. He was a builder, a worker, never a thief. They soon arrived at the rushing waters of a river. The current was cold and fast. Jake, young and capable, waded in without hesitation. The old man, however, lingered on the bank, clutching the remaining bags. He confessed that his aged legs would not withstand the current with such a load. He offered 3 more gold coins if Jake would return and ferry the second sack across. Jake accepted, but as he reached for the bag, the old man grabbed his wrist. His eyes were sharp, pleading. He demanded a promise that Jake would not vanish, revealing that this second sack contained silver. Jake pulled back, offended. He spoke with passion, telling the stranger about his past, how he had once walked away from a secure job at a lending firm because he refused to falsify records. He wore his poverty like a badge of honor, proving that his integrity was not for sale. With the second bag secured, they continued their trek until they faced a steep, imposing hill. The path wound upward, steep and treacherous. The old man stopped, breathing heavily, and admitted defeat. He could not climb with the final burden. He looked at Jake, a shadow of doubt crossing his face, and revealed the final secret. The third bag was filled with pure gold. He hesitated, fearful that once Jake held a fortune, he would disappear into the wilderness. Jake, frustrated by the repeated lack of trust, reaffirmed his honesty. Finally, the old man relented. He told Jake to go on ahead, to climb the hill and wait for him on the other side. Jake took the final bag. He was now alone on the path, the old man fading into the distance behind him. And in that solitude, the silence began to speak. A thought, small and insidious, crept into his mind. Asterisk, if I keep walking, if I just don't stop, he will never catch me. Asterisk, the thought should have been dismissed, but it lingered. It whispered that the old man was near the end of his days, while Jake had a lifetime ahead of him. Why should this fortune be buried with the elderly when it could build a paradise for the young? Visions of a grand house, a beautiful wife, and a life of luxury danced before his eyes, seducing him. The internal battle was fierce but brief. The seduction of easy wealth overpowered a lifetime of morals. Jake's walk turned into a jog and then a sprint. He ran, lungs burning, fueled by greed and adrenaline, leaving the old man and his honor behind on the dusty road. He reached his home, breathless and trembling with anticipation. With shaking hands, he tore open the sacks to embrace his new life. His heart stopped. There was no gold, no silver, no bronze. The bags were filled with nothing but worthless, gray stones. Confusion morphed into anger, and then, as he overturned the final bag, a piece of parchment fluttered to the floor. Jake picked it up, and the words he read shattered his soul. It was a letter from the king. The old man was not a peasant, but the monarch of the land, childless and searching for an heir. He had disguised himself to find a man of true integrity, someone who could carry the weight of the kingdom without being corrupted by its riches. The note concluded with a haunting sentence. Asterisk, you were the one I was looking for. Until you ran, asterisk, Jake fell to his knees, the weight of his loss far heavier than the bags had ever been. He had possessed honesty his entire life, guarding it fiercely. But in one singular moment, he allowed a toxic thought to take root. He hadn't just lost a bag of gold. He had lost a kingdom. This tragedy serves as a timeless warning. We like to believe we are defined by our past actions, but we are truly defined by how we handle our next temptation. Jake was a good man, but he allowed a narrative of greed to rewrite his destiny. It started with a whisper, asterisk run, asterisk that whisper became a visualization, asterisk I will be rich. Asterisk that visualization became an action, and that action sealed his fate. The mind is a garden. Thoughts are the seeds. If we nurture seeds of greed, envy, and shortcuts, we will harvest a life of regret. But if we water the seeds of patience, integrity, and honor, we grow a future of dignity. Guard your thoughts as you would your greatest treasure, for they are the architects of your destiny. If this story resonated with you, and if you believe in the power of staying true to oneself, please share this message with others. Like the video to help us spread this lesson, and subscribe to join our community. Until we meet again, stay vigilant, stay honest, and keep walking the right path.